The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy.
Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy. It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wyldeside with Eric Clark. I am your host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us on the east side of Nashville. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that notification button for the live stream, smash the like button for the algorithm. If you have a band, song, video, something you would like to hear my thoughts on, the best place to get that to me is over on the Discord server. Left-hand side, YouTube reaction requests. Read the pinned message, drop a link in a brief description. I will get to it when I can. Also, down below is all of the ways to get a hold of me from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, including ways to help the channel grow from Patreon to PayPal. So today we are going into the Wayback Machine to the fall of 77, and we're grabbing the SteelyDan Asia album, and we're checking out the track Peg. That's SteelyDan on the Wyldeside. Let's check it out. What you just heard, that is SteelyDan with Peg from Asia, fall of 77. Of course, Michael McDonald's in it. Michael McDonald was in everything in the 70s. Of course he was, from Kenny Loggins to Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross, to Steely Dan. Yes, Michael McDonald was in everything. But here's what I mean by that's a perfect song. There's only one person doing backing vocals in this track, and it's Michael McDonald. The layering of his vocals, two things. Number one, he was able to give like multiple layers of his backing vocals, and they were not smart enough. That's not what I'm saying. Although Steely Dan is like a hyper. What did I hear in an interview one time? I think it was Donald Fagen said there are no dirty jokes in Steely Dan songs, and what that was him saying we don't cater to the bass, if that makes any sense. Their songs are very, while simple sounding, super intricately layered. And they were perfectionists. It took them 6 or 7 guitarists before they landed on Jay. And Jay Graydon is doing the lead guitar here. And the rhythm guitar is really what stands out for me. There's two things that have always stood out in this track for me because my brain strips everything down and assigns everything layers. And there's this popping layer. Okay, it's a layer that pops, meaning that when it displays its colors in my head, it's like fireworks. Okay, if that makes any sense. It's that rhythm guitar. It's very subtle. It's right under the layer there, but it's super. The best way I can describe it is menthol. It's the perfect rhythm guitar because the rhythm guitar is, in a sense, building the bridges and moving the song forward along with the bass and the drums. But let me tell you something about those drums, bro. The drums are Rick Marotta. Rick Marotta did the drums in this track. And Ray Marotta. Because I think he did the music for Everybody Loves Raymond or something like that. It's like really weird connections here. So the shuffle that you're hearing in this track is this really cool upbeated bossa nova. It's an upturned bossa nova beat, which is you can hear it in the Doors, you hear it in the Police, you hear it in a lot of tracks in the 70s, because what you're looking at and what you're listening to are mature adult artists who were influenced by the music of the 1940s, the 1950s. So a lot of that is in there. So you're hearing a lot of these perfect layers of influence in this track. And for 1977, you're hearing the modernity of a slight disco jazz vibe in there as well. So the track itself is multi-toned, multifaceted, multi-layered. And again, you've got Picaro in there. I mean, these guys were pulling everybody. And that's what I miss about the 70s, man. We were spoiled. I mean, this is a band who were putting a record together and said, hey, we need one of the greatest keyboard players. Hey, we need a great backing vocal. Go get Michael McDonald. He's in the biggest band in the world. Get him over here, and I just want you to do backing vocals. And that's what I think spoiled us the most, was knowing that our artists would just go into studios and drop down a backing vocal or a backing guitar or a keyboard lick or something like that. Just go on about their day, and it opened up this wonderful spectrum of so many different sounds. And Steely Dan were so good at capturing all of those sounds of their influence, and putting it through their spectrum and creating this perfect amalgamation of modern rock that was steeped in the blues, in jazz, in soul, in all of that. And you can hear a little bit of, gospel in some of the songs as well. But most importantly, what they were the front runners of progressive pop rock. They weren't deep and heavy with spiritual and fantasy and all this other stuff, but their tones, their progressions, the way they structured their music was very progressive at the time. Because if you look at them in a studio, you're like, those are the mathematicians, those are the engineers. And when they put the songs together, they understood harmony, melody, and how to layer these things perfectly. So even in a 3.5-4 minute song right here, this song is so full that you hear it and say nothing else could ever fit in there. Yet, if you took anything away, it wouldn't be perfect. That is a perfect song right there. It's perfectly layered. The harmonies are perfect. The melodies are perfect. The shuffle that the drummer is doing, along with that popping explosion of the rhythm guitar with that bass heartbeat, building those bridges and creating those fills and transitions. Then you take the vocals on top of that, these straightforward, nice, clean, crisp vocals. You add in that haunting triple, quadruple layer of Michael McDonald, who was in everything, and what you have is a perfect song. You have an absolutely perfect song. Did I write that down? Yeah, Jay Graydon did the drums, and Rick Marotta did that. I think it was Rick Marotta did the seventh. It was like the sixth or seventh guitar solo they brought in. So that tells you that these guys cared a lot about how these 4-minute songs were structured. And to give you an example of how groovy that song is and how absolutely perfect the groove in that song is, it was later sampled by De La Soul. That's how good that song is. Somebody went, yo, that's a banger. And they sampled it. So I'm shocked. I hear a lot of the songs from that time. I remember when I was working in classic rock radio, I would hear songs from Steely Dan, Kenny Loggins, Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers, bands like that. Rare Earth, and I would think, why are these songs not sampled as much? Because these grooves are perfect. That is a perfect groove. And a matter of fact, go back and listen to the whole Asia album. The whole album from front to back is a perfect groove. So when people ask me, hey, what would you consider a perfect song? While there are thousands, if not millions of them out there, one of the first ones I will reach for is Peg by Steely Dan. Now, let me go ahead and kill this rumor, myth, whatever you want to call it. The song is not written about Peg Entwistle, the young lady who leapt from the Hollywoodland sign back in the day. It's not about her. It's just when you talk to musicians, a lot of times we overthink it. We're like, hey, what does it mean? What does it mean? And when you talk to the musicians, and they go, we needed a one note name. So we knew a girl named Peg who was having problems with her boyfriend because she was a model, and he didn't like her going on model or photo shoots alone. And she was one of the girls that worked in the studio or something. I can't remember what the story was, but they were like, yeah, we just needed a short name for the song because it was the Peg. It was that down. They don't see, that's the thing. They don't see it like that. So they weren't looking at it that way. They were like, we just need a syllable. Peg. Perfect. There you go. So it was, and at the time the song came out, the old school Hollywood was getting this new interest from people. The old Hollywood land was. So it was kind of coinciding at the same time, but it's not about Peg Entwistle. It's just about some girl they knew named Peg who did modeling, and her boyfriend didn't like it, and they needed a one-note name that they knew, so they went with Peg. So thank you very much for that suggestion. Again, if there's a band, song, video, something you want me to talk about, get over to the Discord server, left-hand side, YouTube reaction requests, drop a link, a brief description. I will get to it when I can because these things are stacking up, man. They really, really are. But I appreciate it. Keep them coming, man. I'm trying to crank through them. So again, make sure you're following on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. And of course, get over to Discord and subscribe to the Discord server. Thank you to Connect 200 Music to see and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me on the east side of Music City, USA. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark. This is The Wild Side.